Hi again, it's me. Um, I want to thank everybody that watched yesterday, everybody who listened and gave me words of encouragement. It was great. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. Thank you for not asking me for names. And like I said yesterday, it's not about shaming anybody or calling anybody out. It's really just about me moving on and me letting go of the anger that something like this could cause you, that could end up consuming you if you let it. So thank you everybody for letting me get this out and helping me move on. And so now let's get to today. Chapter 2, changes. So yesterday, for those of you who listened to chapter 1 and how my story began, it's a pretty incredible story, pretty unbelievable, yet somehow with all the documentation and all the course of events, kind of believable. So I just want to recap uh, everything that was involved up until this point. Real quick, you have me. You have two real estate agents now involved. Um, the real estate agent that's selling my house, and then the real estate agent that Mr. X hired to buy my house. You have two executive partners who I've met and interviewed with that both have their real estate licenses. So it's kind of starting to make sense and come together for me. Um, you have independent contractors, three different estimates that came to my house. These three contractors each spent a day in my house, going from the attic to the basement, um, with the idea in mind that they were going to upgrade the entire house and do an entire house renovation based on Mr. X's requests and requirements. So they also put together their estimates, and this took them time and paperwork, and these people came out to my house thinking they were going to get the opportunity to bid on this job, this humongous renovation. Then you have proof of funds from a bank proving that the sale of my house is plausible, that the monies do exist, and the sale can be funded. Then you have the corporate attorneys, because where I left off with you yesterday, I got my employment contract, and in my employment contract went from his attorney to my attorney, and then back and forth with several revisions. So there were attorneys involved, and attorney fees, and somebody else that had to set eyes on this deal. And then you have my ex-husband who was still on my house and selling the house with me, and he's packed and in boxes and living out of boxes, and ready for the closing on our home, a cash closing with the fastest possible close. So all of these things at this time are exciting. These are good changes for me. These are changes I was looking to make, career changes. I was looking to sell my home. My daughter was graduating, so I was looking to sell my home and maybe finally move back up north to be closer to my friends and family. So this was all an exciting time. So this is where I left you off yesterday. So all of these people were involved. All of these people took time. All these people were contacted, um, and they all had a piece in the point where I'm up to as of right now in this story. First, I'll take you, and today's story will be shorter. I know yesterday's was kind of long, but I had to lay down the foundation for you. Today's chapter begins on Saturday, February 21st. That's the day that there was an email received from our closing attorney, because we're closing on our house. It's a cash deal. Our closing attorney contacted the buyer, Mr. X, to let them know, to thank them for the opportunity to assist them in the closing of the purchase of our home, and that they need to know what mailing address they want reflected on the deed. So tax bills will be mailed, etc. That we had completed the title search, and we'll have a settlement statement for him shortly. That happened on February 21st. So now we have another attorney involved. Now it's going through a real estate attorney, because this is happening. This is going to close. This is the sale of my home. And when you sell a home, you go through attorneys. So the attorney reached out to the buyer, Mr. X, and said, thank you. We'll have a settlement statement for you shortly. Where should we be mailing the tax paperwork? Where should we be filing the deed? What address? And under what name? So somebody else is now involved. Now, on February 23rd, the email was answered, given an address. Please address all mail care of Mr. X's company to Mr. X's address. And Mr. X wants to do a mail-in closing because obviously I'm in North Carolina and he's in New York. So the attorney responded, copying my real estate agent and me. There's no problem with the mail closing. We will email the settlement statement to you and you can sign and scan it back to us. We should have the final settlement statement ready tomorrow, if not sooner. This was on February 23rd, which is a Monday. On February 24th, that Tuesday, we scheduled the closing. So, from the seller's agent, which is my real estate agent, to Mr. X regarding the property that is being purchased in North Carolina. The closing is scheduled for 11 o'clock Friday at Mr. Tom Esquire's office. If the HUD is signed by both the sellers and the buyer that day, they will disperse funds at that time after the recording of the deed. You can give him that information at the attorney's office at closing. You will both need to be there and bring your driver's license. I will be there too. So that was the correspondence to me and my ex-husband to go take the day off of work and go down to the attorney's office to go through our closing, which, take the day off. It's a pretty big day. It's a good day to celebrate. We closed on the house. We got a lot of these changes going on, a lot of positive things. We could both move on with our lives finally. The house is sold. The kids are grown. They're graduated. And now it's time for, it's us time. So, and then I give the attorney my bank wiring information to wire the funds to our account so that once the house is sold, we're done. The funds are there. Everything's done. That was the email that went back and forth. Excuse me. So now, the law offices of Tom Esquire reach out to Mr. X and say the final HUD is attached. Now, for those of you who don't know, a HUD is the financial statement. The HUD it lists out everything, all the financials on the house. So it pretty much lists what you're paying and what that amount is going towards, whether it's going towards mortgage, unpaid taxes, anything that's involved in where your money is going at the time that you purchase the house. So it says, please sign, scan, and email the HUD back to us. Please also send verification that the status of the corporation has been returned to active, because we couldn't find the corporation. Our wire instructions are attached. The total amount needed for closing is $334,000.43. Please let us know if you have any questions. That is from the closing attorney. Now, at this point, like I said, this is all positive stuff for us. This is good. I'm embracing the idea that this is legitimate and this person's buying my home and sees value in my skills so much that they want to recruit me, relocate me, which happens, relocate me to New York City to be the manager or vice president of operations, which was my official title, of their expanding real estate office. So I'm making all these big changes. They're scary as hell because to make major changes in your life is very scary. So I was terrified, but at the same time, I was excited. So you got these emotions going on. You're scared, but you're looking forward to the next page in your book. You're excited. All of these things seem to be lining up. Everything seems to be legitimate. Who would go through such an elaborate plan if it's not true? Who would actually contact an attorney and go through closing and contracts and all of that's happened? It has to be real. It can't not be real at this point. So here's my HUD one. The HUD one outlines everything for the buyer, Mr. X, of everything that his money is going to for the sale of my house, for the purchase price of my house. Mr. X signs the HUD-1 and faxes it back to my attorney. My ex-husband Paul and I take the day off of work. We meet at the attorney's office. We have the HUD-1. We sign our copy. We shake hands with the attorney, who at this point we owe $2,803 because the seller paid the attorney fees at closing. So our attorney went through an actual closing procedure, went through all the paperwork. We signed everything. Went to the filing of the deed based on the signed HUD-1. At that point, the house is legally sold. So we left there. I'll never forget, it was raining that day. We left there. We were both feeling very happy, exasperated that this is really happening, and the house is sold, and it was sold in cash, and the kids get to stay there. I get to come back and forth. There's going to be renovations going on in the house. All good, all exciting stuff. No reason at this point to think any of it isn't true. There's so many people involved. There's so many things going on. Who would do this? Who would, again, go through all of these elaborate steps if it wasn't real? It has to be real. So then, after closing, the same day, Friday, February 27th, 2015, after 20 plus years in the electronic payments industry, after two companies with the same partners, it being the only thing that I had ever done, and the only industry that I really knew, and I'm terrified. I'm expanding my horizons to new things, and I'm excited, and I'm terrified, and I have this great opportunity. I speak to my partners. I have a conversation with my CEO, who is a partner of mine, and I've worked with him for years, decades, and explain to him the opportunity at hand. At which point, I still didn't listen to my gut instinct. Because even though I'm excited and all these things are happening around me, something's still not right. Inside, I could feel it, but I was ignoring it because everyone was telling me, why, you're just being skeptical. How can it not be true? So you give in to that. So I had a conversation, and the conversation went like this. Lori, if this doesn't work out, you come back. Because with the opportunity that you're showing me, and all of the perks that go along with it, I wish you the best of luck because I want you to be successful and I want you to be happy because we're like family. We've known each other for so long. If it doesn't work out, you come back. But if you were my own family, my daughter or my wife, I would be telling you that you have to try and you have to take this opportunity and see where it leads you. It's too good to say no. Okay. So now I have one more person telling me, don't be skeptical. If it doesn't work out, you have options. You can come back. Okay. So as of that day, here's my email dated February 27th. My official, even though we spoke on the phone, this is my official written letter of resignation from the only industry I ever knew, from the only partners that I've worked with for the past 20 years. A letter that was hard for me to write, scared to death, but again, excited at the same time. Feeling, well, what do I have to lose? If it doesn't work out, I can always come back. Okay? So, dear partner, it's with bittersweet tears that I submit the attached to you. I love you all very much, and I have loved working with all of you for all these years. I won't say goodbye because I know our working relationship is only a small piece of who we have become. Hugs to all of you, and I'll talk to each of you very soon individually. My official letter and transition document is attached. Kind regards, Lori, VP of Marketing and Sales, and your friend always. My official resignation from one career to transition into another one. So that's where I'm going to leave you today as I endeavor into this new experience. Mr. X waits for me to resign, quit my job, so I can move to his new expanding company in New York City because he just bought my house, although the HUD-1 was signed. So officially the house was purchased, but we don't have the funds for the house yet because that's going to take 24 hours to 48 hours to wire. So I'm going to leave you there, waiting to see what happens with the purchase of my house, the contractors, my resignation, my new opportunity, and my new home waiting for me in New York City. Thank you all for listening, and this has been very helpful to me, and I wish you all have a great day. Thank you.